Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors, who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. So happy to be back with you again this week. We always like to start our show off by talking about what it means to be a warrior. If you haven't been with us before, I like to explain that a warrior is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. What that means is that you don't have to be brave and you don't have to be a soldier. You can be an experienced fighter to be considered a warrior. And if you've ever had to overcome anything, that would mean you have experienced it, and it would mean that you fought your way through it, which makes you a warrior. And why is it important to call ourselves that? Well, warriors don't give up. They fight until they can't fight anymore. And that's kind of how you really need to approach everything you do in life. Everything that you take on, whatever that may be, work, things with your family, raising a family, your friendships, exercise, fitness, health, everything you do, you need to warrior into, and just recognize that as long as you persevere, you'll come as close to perfection as possible. And that's what actually ultimately will get you to the places you want to go in life. Because if you just sit and cower in front of the things that feel overwhelming, then you'll stay exactly where you are. So learning to warrior through life is what will actually not only guarantee happiness and fulfillment, but I don't want to say make life easier, but it'll just make it make more sense.
Absolutely. We have a really dear friend that recently said, he, prior addiction to drugs years ago, and he recently said that, you can be addicted to drugs or you can be addicted to discipline. This is just what he said. And I was like, oh, wow, I like that. That's profound. And he said, so I made the decision to trade drugs in for an addiction to discipline. First and foremost, this is what he said, I'm disciplined to God, in all things Jesus, because he's everything. He's the reason why I'm not addicted to drugs anymore. So basically everything I do is for God. And he said, so that's my first discipline. So that means I need to read the Bible. It need to be in prayer. It means I need to be ministering to people. It means I need to be building up anything I need to build up in myself so that I'm creating increase for the kingdom. And then he said, now my next addiction is eating clean. Because when I eat clean, my brain is clean. And I don't want drugs anymore because my brain is settled and it is calm. So I traded drug addiction for an addiction and a commitment to the Lord, and an addiction and a commitment to eating clean. He said, my third addiction is exercise. I never miss a workout. I work out every day but one, and I walk outside. I get sunshine. Now he lives in Florida, so lucky him. He can do that. Although today I think he might have got ice. Yeah. So I don't know if he's walking outside today, but crazy enough. But it's like he was so specific about it. He said, the Lord, exercise, and eating clean, drinking my water, and doing some form of exercise outside in addition to the exercise I do in the gym is my addiction. I'm addicted to it every day. I am committed to it every day. And nothing keeps me from that addiction. The same way when I was addicted to drugs, I wanted it every day. There wasn't a minute of the day that I wasn't thinking about it, and nothing kept me from going back to the drugs. He said, this is just my new addiction. And he said, what's weird is that there is an entire society of people that truly feel that ultimately his addiction, his current addiction, might not actually be a healthy addiction. So what he's saying is that he has people that at this stage of the game are basically telling him that his trade, that I don't think they mentioned this part, like, oh, you traded a drug addiction for an addiction to Jesus, an addiction to serving God, an addiction to your food always being clean and really particular about it, and you getting exercise and you walking outside every day. I don't think that they say, oh, you should have stayed on drugs, but yet in spite of all those challenges, you still have people that come to you and say, do you think maybe you're taking it too far? Could it just be like, could you lighten up a little bit?
Right.
Like, are you being just a little too intense with your food? I mean, it's got to be okay sometimes to have some garbage. This is a person who is addicted to drugs. You don't think they're going to get addicted to sugar if they start adding sugar in? No, he doesn't think that it's a good idea to add it.
Right.
You know why he doesn't think it's a good idea to add it? Because he doesn't want to be just as addicted to it. Okay, now the exercise, going to the gym every day. Now he's got people telling him, now, I mean, it's okay to miss one workout. You know, don't get yourself to where you're one of those people to where you're just nonstop having to be in the gym and everything's about your body and everything's about, you know, always working out and always trying to change your body. I know it sounds ridiculous. When I say it like that, it's almost embarrassing to think that someone would actually say that out loud. And yet, people say that. People say that to people that are really trying to be healthy.
I just watch people be well and healthy, and then they're told that.
They're trying so hard to stay committed, and yet they have this grouping of people that are like coming against that. Well, what does that look like? Okay. So you really want to trade your drug addiction for an addiction to discipline. You've committed yourself in your mind to get off drugs, and you've done it for years, and you've told yourself, my new addiction is faith, Jesus, working out, clean eating, and being outside and getting some good quality exercise outside. If you have people coming against that, you just have to recognize that is 100% the enemy. You got to go at this like the strongest warrior you've ever been. You've got to shield up. And whenever they come to you with these really nonsense, weird, you can have one of these, you can miss one of those comments, let them go live that life for themselves. And you put your shield up, you deflect it, you get back in your faith, you get back on your walks, you get back into the gym, and you commit to your food. You do you, and you let them go do that unhealthy life. You don't have to be part of that. And God will guide you every step of the way. When you hear from the Holy Spirit, you stay committed to that discipline. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's interesting, having been an addict myself, how many people watch you be addicted. You know, how many people watch you be on painkillers. They watch you drink. They watch you eat yourself into obesity, and it's accepted. Now, nobody really accepts that you're on heroin. Nobody really accepts that you're on cocaine. Nobody really accepts that you're doing hard drugs, but they will accept things that actually create issues that are considered social norms. And what's fascinating to me about that is if heroin was considered a social norm and it was legal, we'd accept it. I mean, look at marijuana. There are so many people that were against marijuana, and now it's legal, and there's this just across the nation acceptance of it. And, you know, whatever your stance is on that, it doesn't matter. But the idea, the philosophy is that legalization has made it more acceptable. So food is the most accepted drug that there is. And we watch people all day kill themselves by eating horrible food. And it's fascinating because your family will be like, well, you deserve to live a little. Well, yeah, you do deserve to live a little. You deserve to live a little bit longer. And you're not going to do that eating the chemical ingredients and the garbage that's getting put in our food nowadays. And so it's like, okay, well, you deserve to have a couple drinks. You know, you used to drink with us all the time. Yeah, I was an alcoholic. What do you mean I deserve to have a couple drinks? These are conversations I've had, okay? I had a heart attack because I was fat. And if the word fat offends you, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to use it because I feel qualified to, because that's what the doctor told me, is you had a heart attack because you're fat. I'm pretty sure I get to claim the word. So, you know, if that offends you, I want you to think about something. If you're in a position where you think you deserve to have food, first off, you don't deserve anything. What you deserve is to find Christ and to pursue him with your life. The things of this world are fallen, and what you put in your mouth, you want to think about, does it glorify God or does it not? And, there's neutral, okay? There's something that you might be like, okay, I'm not glorifying God with this. I'm just eating. This is my energy. But if you're eating for the sake of flavor, if you're eating for the sake of like, God, I just have to have some apple pie, well, then I'm here to tell you, you're feeding the flesh. And, if there's control on that, the Bible talks about good food. If you're like, on my birthday in 3 months, I'm going to have apple pie. That's controlled, okay? That's not gluttony. That's not a Tuesday. That's not that I have to have this or I'm not going to be well. I just want to talk a little bit more about that addiction idea and how we should take it on in our next segment.
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with a 6-month nutrition program with myself or a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, give us a call at 636-299-2208. For more information on my online subscription program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. If you're just joining us, in the last segment, we were talking about what it means to be a warrior, and we got into the idea of addiction, and a mutual friend of ours was talking about giving up the addiction of drugs and getting into the addiction of discipline, and how it's interesting, but he actually gets talked to more about the quote-unquote addiction to discipline than he did to drugs. And people try to tell him, like, you don't want to be that disciplined, you're crack, you'll fall, and then you won't be okay. Or you don't want to be that disciplined, like you deserve to have food here and there. You gotta cheat. You gotta live a little. You can't just be on a diet all the time. You don't have to exercise every day. You don't have to do this every day. And it's interesting because he pointed out, and this is what I've seen, the people telling him this aren't healthy. And most times they're not happy. They're not well. So the people like might even be quote unquote healthy and they're, doing the quote unquote live a little, but they're not happy. So you're talking about unhappy, unhealthy people trying to tell a happy, healthy person that's recovered from being a drug addict what he's doing wrong. Isn't that fascinating? And so what I started to talk about before we went to this segment was I've been overweight. I had to lose 100 pounds. I had to get off painkillers. I had to get off anxiety medication. I was self-medicating. I had a guy that I didn't arrest because he could get me Percocet. So I was getting Percocet off the streets. I was getting Percocet from 2 doctors. Now, did I have a legitimate reason to have Percocet? Sure I did. I had a broken back, but here's the problem. If I talked to people about that, they would tell me, oh, that's totally okay that you're on Percocet. But did I need to be? The thing is, it was acceptable because of an injury I had had. And because of that, I got away with it and I almost died. My food. Oh, you're just a big guy. No, I'm an overweight guy. I'm a big overweight guy. But these are the things that are talked about and socially acceptable, that it's always interesting that is the stuff that someone tells you should just live a little. And it's like, no, that's ultimately going to kill me. And it tried to. I was in my 20s when it almost killed me.
Absolutely. I mean, I went through it with you. And the thing is, you get around enough of that. If that becomes enough of what you are in close proximity to, then eventually the seeds of doubt will get planted in you. And if you don't have strong enough resolve, if you don't have strong enough faith, if you don't have a strong enough personality that you can pull yourself out of this and you can really rebuke the negativity that's coming at you and replace it with positivity, then you're going to be in a situation where you're going to keep falling. You're going to keep failing. And it'll literally be because of the influence that
other people have on your life. And oh my gosh, I have seen it so many times. I mean, there have been times where, like with clients, I've been like you you need to not go there anymore. Like you got to stop going there for a little while. Like your spirit man and your physical man, like they're both really tired right now. Like your spirit is not strong enough. You're going to that place and you're not resisting. Your physical man is exhausted because you keep working it out all the time and you keep trying to do all this food and you're just exhausted. You're just wiped out. So you're going to a place like that. It's just going to be so easy for you to just pass. I got to pass on this today. This is all too much. This is just too fatiguing. I just don't think I can continue to do this. But what are you doing? You're eating healthy. Eating healthy has become not the norm anymore. Eating terrible has become the norm. Now, I'm 50 years old. I grew up in a Leave It to Beaver, Walton's Mountain kind of home, Brady Bunch kind of home. I'm just being honest with you. I did. My parents didn't curse. Still to this day, they don't curse. I don't curse. I don't actually like being around people when they curse. It doesn't feel right to me because I wasn't raised that way, right? Oh, you're a prude. Maybe. I guess I am. I'm okay with that. I'm just pure. I haven't been around it. I don't want to be around it if I don't have to be around it, right? Okay, when I was growing up in that society, in that world, my parents didn't let us have candy. We had candy on Easter in our basket. We had candy on Halloween because we went trick-or-treating, and we were allowed to have candy on Halloween, okay, and maybe 2 days after, like the weekend after Halloween, and then it was gone. My parents threw every bit of that candy away. It was not kept. We could not continue to do it. We had desserts on our birthday. We had desserts on Christmas and Thanksgiving. This was not like you just were not having garbage food all the time. We had a garden out back. We were always required to eat our meat with our vegetables. We were not allowed to leave the table without both of them being ate. If we had potatoes, we were allowed to eat the potatoes or the pasta, but we always had to eat them like last. Like you had to eat your meat and your vegetables, and then you were allowed to eat the bread. Then you were allowed to eat the pasta. Then you were allowed to eat all that stuff. If you had a conversation with someone right now, I can guarantee you, if I sat in front of an entire group of parents, if I went to Sophie's school and they put me on the stage and all the parents came, okay, and they came to listen to me talk, and I started talking about everything that I literally just mentioned, all that my parents did when I was growing up, so many of those parents, I can say every single one of them, but so many of those parents would say, you're going to cause an eating disorder in your child if you make them eat that way. You are going to make that child mentally sick if you meet. No, I'm not. The mental sickness comes from the sugar. It comes from the preservatives. It comes from the chemicals. It comes from the fake ingredients. It comes from them getting coffee way too early in their life. It comes from them messing up their adrenals, messing up their hormones. All of this is happening way, way, way too soon. I'm not causing the eating disorder. The world is causing the eating disorder.
Right.
The fact that you can go to Europe and not find, you can't even find half of the foods that you can find here in America. And then you look around at the people that are walking around, and everywhere they go, they have to walk, and you look at them and they're not as heavy. They're just not as heavy as what we are. So it is a toxic culture, and you have to be willing to stand out. You have to be willing to basically be, almost just secluded, and you can't care that you're not like everybody else. I can't care that other parents think that I'm too strict with my daughter. They don't know her health issues. They don't know why we take it to that extreme. I don't even care. I don't care what they think. They can say whatever they want. Are they healthy? I have no idea if they're healthy. Are their kids at 13 on an antidepressant? Are they on an anti-anxiety medication? Why? Why are they on that? Did they get brain damage, or are they causing the brain damage with the food that they get fed on a regular basis? So if you're willing to be excluded, you will start fighting your way to an exceptional level of health. For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with a 6-month nutrition program with myself or a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, give us a call at 636-299-2208. For my monthly live Q&A subscription program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Deb said something right before we went to the break. Remind me how you worded it, Deb. You said if you're willing to...
It was so long ago.
Do you remember? Oh, my gosh. Do you remember what you said? If you're willing to stand out?
If you're willing to be excluded. Like, you
okay.
genuinely have to be willing to be excluded. I have very few friends. I know that doesn't surprise anyone listening with how hardcore I was last session, right? Like, you're like, no kidding, I don't want to be your friend. But I have very few friends because I don't let that many people speak into my life. I don't want to be influenced by people that don't take the Lord seriously, don't take their health seriously, don't take their business seriously, don't take the call that God has for their life seriously. I just don't want to be influenced by it. I've got a mighty call in my life. I'm going to help as many people as I can. And I got to watch the kind of deal that I get around. But you get excluded. You are excluded. So there's that warrior mentality. You got to be willing to be excluded in order to achieve exceptional level of health, an exceptional level of health. You have to.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And I think that you can apply that to more than even just health. I mean, you have to be willing to be excluded to be exceptional, period. And, you know, what happens is you look at these people, and it's interesting. I can't remember who I heard say this. You know, we listen to so many people that are successful talk, so I'm sure you could Google it and find out. But they were talking about just standing out, the idea of standing out and being different, and how nobody is with you in the middle of the race. Like when you start the race, people tell you you're crazy, you know, so you're already standing out starting the race, like you are nuts. But then when you get to the end of the race and you succeed and you hit this high level of success, you're told, well, must be nice, or man, you really lucked out on that one.
Right.
You got real lucky on that.
Yes.
And it's like they didn't actually watch you run the race because you stood out and they thought you were odd.
Right.
They might have even mocked you for doing it at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Then they want to be around you because you've experienced the success or you've built up. So now, you know, you're not excluded anymore. In fact, they're wanting to include you, but you're excluding them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at the beginning of these phases and you're trying to become healthy and you're out and you're surrounding yourself with people and they're like, come on, just have one drink. And you know that you're avoiding diabetes, or come on, it's just one meal. You can't eat one meal. And you know you're trying to avoid the gut issue sickness you've had. And these people know this and they're still presenting this to you. Those might not be the right people for you to be hanging out with. Mm-hmm. And I want to challenge you to think, like, as far as standing out, getting made fun of, called out, or not believed in, if you're trying to impress this world, you might be doing it wrong, because this world actually crucified the only perfect man that ever walked the earth, and that was Jesus. And so the thing is, you know, if you're getting called out and you feel like you're being crucified for what you're standing for by the world, you might actually be doing something right.
You might actually be doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, I feel like we down, and John, you'll be good at breaking this down. So
are we breakdancing?
If you want.
Okay, I mean, I can break that down right now.
Right.
They just can't see it.
All right.
Okay.
I'm
They'll just hear me
it.
breathing really heavy.
If you would like to break dance, I'm open to it.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
No, okay.
On the way,
go ahead.
On the way here, John was talking about someone took my bank account for our bakery, and they did something they weren't supposed to do, ACH'd out of it, and so I had to cancel the account. And so on the way here, John was like, listen, if I was a police officer and I came and met with you and you hadn't closed the account, which he used to be a police officer, you hadn't closed the account.
We're going.
I would say
we're going here.
I would say, Mrs. Morris, you haven't closed the account.
We're
so
going
you're
here.
expecting fraud. And I was like, man, I would really like it if you were my personal police officer showing up to my door
Deb?
like, Mrs. Morris, I'd
Deb?
like to help you. I'm like, I'm blushing, in the
Deb?
car. Anyways.
I'm not a stripper.
I do not want that.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so anyways.
Okay, so we were going different directions. I was envisioning tearaway uniform. Like, okay.
No, not at
okay,
all.
okay,
I
all
wanted
right.
you to come and help me through this situation with the bank account. But
Yeah.
obviously,
Because I am helpful.
Now we do know now
That you
where
think
your
I'm-
head is rooted.
That you think that you, I mean, you're my wife, so I get to
I
have
know,
that rooting. But like,
you're my husband and you're
yeah,
gorgeous. And I
thank
love
you, appreciate that.
So what
We'll
I was
break that down later.
going to say is what I'd love for you to break down, other than break dance,
Yeah,
is the full armor of God. I think. Well, we're talking warrior. We're putting people in this position where they have to feel, they're going to set themselves up to be excluded. Let's break it down. What are all those components? Let's talk this through because people can take this information and they can start taking one piece of the puzzle every single day. And I'm telling you, it really will help.
yeah, got you. All right, so I have this tattooed on my arm because if I don't tattoo things on myself, I usually forget them because I'm dumb. Like I even have the name John on my right hand, so it's like that is my name.
John 10:10.
John
What's on
10:10's
his
on my hands, and it's so that I can remember that the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I come to give life and life in the fullest. And it's obviously Jesus talking, but I do believe he uses tools, and I think I'm one of those tools that he can use to help remind people of that. But you know what's interesting is when you talk about the armor of God, most people that will tell you to put on the armor of God, and, guilty, been here, done that, they'll tell you put on the full armor of God. They might even be able to actually quote, like I have Ephesians 6:10-18 tattooed on my arm, and I could not word for word quote that to you. That's the armor of God, okay? So they might even be able to quote that. But the question becomes, what are the pieces? Like if you're someone who knows the statement, the full armor of God, and you're supposed to put that on to take on the evil of the world, do you know what the actual pieces you're supposed to put on every day are? Mm-hmm. I think most people know breastplate of righteousness. That's one that's commonly talked about. You get people that talk about the shield of faith, helmet of salvation, sword of the Spirit. You hear that, which is our offensive one. So that's our only offensive tool. Belt of truth, and then the last one's shoes of the gospel of peace. Mm-hmm. That's the one I always forget. I know there's shoes, sandals, but I never, I struggle to remember gospel of peace.
Let's talk from the top up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the helmet.
You mean from the top down?
Top down.
Top up just
Top
starts
up.
with the head and goes to God, I guess.
Top
but
up. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Whatever, Deb.
All right. Helmet.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the helmet of salvation. So the idea is that the helmet actually protects your mind from the lies of the enemy. Your salvation saves you. So when you have salvation through Christ, what that does is it protects your head, and it allows you to know that at the end of the day, no matter how crappy life is, no matter what happens, your salvation sends you to heaven. So it's important because it protects the brain. And with that idea, you should feel comfortable knowing that no matter what happens in this life, you get to go to heaven at the end of it. Okay. So as we make our way down, we'll go breastplate of righteousness. Now, so again, these are 6, 10-18. Helmet of salvation is going to be your 17. Breastplate is going to be your 14. And the breastplate of righteousness, if you think about what righteousness is, it's given by God instead of being self-righteous. This is where people go wrong. Is righteous has received such a, especially in the last, I'd say, generation or two, negative connotation, because people think, oh, what, you self-righteous jerk, or man, you're so righteous. But what it's actually insinuating is it's actually saying your righteousness comes from the Lord, and righteousness is basically your moral decision making, being good, being kind, making a quality moral decision, and moving forward knowing that you've done the best you can to be the best you can be. Okay? It's not, I did this because I think it's okay. It's, I did this because the Lord told me that I should do it. And that protects the heart and the soul, trying to be righteous. Okay? So then I guess we'll get into the weapons or the things on the hand. So we'll talk about the sword of faith. Okay, that's used to extinguish the flaming darts of the enemy. And what that means is when the enemy throws things at you, you have an option of how you respond to them. Everything in life has an option that goes one of two directions: faith or fear. So if someone throws something at you, whatever it may be, sickness, your child's having issues, your job you just got fired, or it's rocky, your relationship is rocky, you either have faith that it's going to be okay or you have fear that it's not. That's what happens. You go one of two directions. And so the idea is that God gives you a shield that if you place your faith in him, then you don't have to fear, because what the devil means for harm, God will turn around and use for good. So having that shield makes it to where you don't get hit by the arrow and have to decide if you have faith or fear or not on your own. You have a shield that protects you so that you know that you can act in faith. Does that mean you'll never be afraid? No, you have fiery darts being shot at you. It's going to be something that might make you a little bit afraid. But your final decision is, I blocked those with my shield, so now I can know that I'm going to move forward, and that's your faith. You have to be faith-filled, faithful. What do you got to do to exercise faith, to understand that having faith in the Lord will allow you to have faith in the way the world is dealt with? If you have vertical faith, lateral issues start to just fall in line. Okay, you'll know how to handle them and you'll get through them. The next thing is the sword of the Spirit. It's actually the only weapon God equips us with, and it's the Bible. It's the Word. And a lot of people will train or hide behind the armor. And they'll talk about turning the other cheek, because the Bible does say that. They'll talk about meekness, because the Bible does say that. But a lot of times people start their meekness with a W. It doesn't mean weakness. You have a sword, but you can't use your sword if you don't learn how to use it. And if you don't learn how to use it, you're not a threat. And to be a threat, you have to get in the Word. If you know the Word, you can be like Jesus, who was also tempted by Satan, okay, as he was on a mega fast. He was probably tired, weak, not feeling great, and in a place where he could have pulled out all of his divine powers. The enemy comes and tempts him. And what does he say to make Satan flee? It is written. It's what he says on repeat. It is written. So he didn't even have to tell him what was written. He didn't even have to say, well, in this part of the Bible or in this part of what God has willed into existence, he just said it is written, and the enemy fled. Okay, so familiarize yourself with that text and that word, and you start to become a formidable force.
I think also just connecting with the Holy Spirit.
Sure.
And maybe that, that connection in the word, definitely allows you to be more connected to the Holy Spirit. But being led by the Holy Spirit is a sword in itself. Like that is a protection measure, is a protective measure in itself. The closer the connection, the more you can defend yourself.
Well, and I'll get into that a little bit more here too. The last part in the armor is the shoes of the gospel of peace, okay? And that provides stability and readiness to share the message of peace with God. And it also makes you, we got to get to the belt. I skipped the belt. So we'll do that after the break. But the shoes, they also guide your steps. So you're going to know which steps you should be taking, the direction you should go, because you have the readiness to share the message. This is discipleship. You're on the road. You're walking with Christ. You're willing to be a disciple and fulfill the things that he needs to fulfill in your life. We'll talk about the belt and the final piece when we get back.
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with a 6-month nutrition program or a free personal fitness assessment, give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. If you are just joining us after our break, we were talking about the armor of God and all of its individual pieces. And we actually ran through the breastplate, we ran through the shoes, the shield, the helmet, and the sword. And the belt of truth is actually what protects us from the deceptions and lies of the enemy. That's what the truth is. But it also holds all of the armor together. And my inappropriate joke about that is that, if you have pants that are too big for you and you take your belt off, you really don't want to show the enemy your spiritual butt. Don't get caught with your pants down, okay? And that's what's going to happen if you don't hold to the truth. If you're a liar, if you lack integrity, you're not the same person behind closed doors that you are out in front of them. If you carry skeletons in your closet, which we have all had, and you don't offer those up to Jesus and get his forgiveness and his peace and allow that closet to be aired out, you will find that even wearing all of the other pieces of armor, you're just not held together. And it's going to be really hard to continue to fight the deceptions and the lies that are going to be told to you in your mind without that being in place. The final part, Deb, you started to get a little bit into this. This is one that not everybody talks about. But if you look at Ephesians 6:18, is prayer in the Spirit. This is not commonly spoken about. I consider that the actual seventh element of the armor, okay? And that element is the activation of the spiritual strength in the armor. That activation means that not only do I put this on, but I actually prepare to go use it. I don't just put it on and sit down for the day spiritually. And so the activation comes through that spiritual prayer, that prayer in the Spirit, and that sends you out and makes you capable. That's the honing that she was talking about. That's the preparation. The use of the Bible is you have to be activated to go to war. It's kind of like your calling. And so when you get out there and you're fully equipped, don't go out there and walk around looking good in your armor. Get out there and actually disciple and do what God's called us to do so that the armor makes sense. Too many people, and I talk about this in my men's group. I have a men's group called Men of Integrity, and my intention is to make strong mind, body, and spiritual men to lead their households and to lead this world, hopefully, to a revolution of just getting back to some normalcy mentally. But I talk to them pretty frequently about this concept, and the idea is putting on the full armor of God and doing nothing with it. And Jordan Peterson says that men who have swords and keep them sheathed shall inherit the world. And another thing he says, whether you like him or not, he's got some good quotes. He says, if you don't have the ability to be violent, but claim to be peaceful, you're a liar. Because you have to be capable of violence and choose not to act upon it to have peace or to be peaceful. If you aren't capable of violence, you can't claim peace as a virtue because you're actually just weak. So if you're not capable and you're claiming peace, you're just someone that's weak pretending that you're peaceful when in all reality you couldn't be anything but that. You would get ran over. And so a lot of people put their armor on, or they think about it, put on the full armor of God, make sure that I'm in this, but then they don't do anything. They don't go out and disciple to people. They don't go out and share the gospel with other people. They don't make it their mission or their priority. Like, well, I don't want to bother people. They don't stand up for what they believe in. Now, I'm not asking you to go out and actually hit people in the head with your Bible. I'm not asking you to actually use it like a sword, but there's just conversations that might be had with you that you could stand your ground a little bit more on. You can have that shield that protects you from this fear that you might upset somebody, this fear that you could lose a friendship over it. Perhaps that person needs to hear that so that you can send them to the same place that the helmet of salvation is telling you get to go. And so don't just put this armor on. Don't just equip this and not use that seventh concept of that prayer in the Spirit that is going to be, Lord, use me. Let me be a disciple today. Send me out amongst people who need to see a warrior and who need someone willing to get in the trenches and fight with them.
Amen. I like I kind of get fixated on the belt of truth, and I think to myself, like, boy, the truth has truly set me free. Like, the every part of the truth is why I am where I am today, and why I'm led by the Holy Spirit in all that I do, because it's right there in the Bible. I'm born again because the truth, because of the truth. Someone told me the truth of Christ and how my life could be turned around. I'm healthy because someone told me the truth about healing, and that is right there in His Word. And so instead of continuing to stay sick for the rest of my life, I stood on that healing, and with long life, He is satisfying me. And so I just stood on that truth. And there are so many truths that we can stand on. We can get into the Word, and daily we can declare that truth over our life. We can declare that truth over our relationships, over our job, over the provision that we need, and most definitely over our body and over our healing. So for me, I would say, if there's one that maybe hits me the hardest, I maybe just at this season in my life, it's that one. It's the belt of truth. Is there one that like hits you harder?
Oh, that would be the sandals that I'm talking about. Primarily because
you look good in sandals.
No, I was going to say because I don't like to wear flippy floppies. Okay. No, I mean, the gospel of peace provides the readiness to share the message. I mean, I just said, Lord, like, have this prayer, grant me the ability to go out. But I run into battle fatigue. I work all day with people, and I have no problem sharing it there. So perhaps you could say I do put my sandals on for that, because Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. throughout that whole day, I'm talking to people. Today, I laid hands on a woman and claimed healing in her body before we came to the show. So, like, I am doing it, but, like, am I doing it when I'm out and about? Am I thinking about that? It's like I schedule it in my work week. I schedule it once a month with my men, but do I put those on? I would say that that's my biggest one. I mean, I'm not afraid to use my sword. I use my, shield, helmet. I know where I'm at on that. My righteousness. I like to think that I am a moral guy. Belt of truth. I mean, the name of our company is literally integrity. So like pressing into the truth. Maybe the shield, faith and fear, making sure that I'm not afraid of, are our numbers where they need to be from a business perspective? Are our employees happy and healthy and well taken care of? Is my daughter all right with all of the things that she deals with, especially since I have 50% custody of her? What's happening for the other 50%? Is my family okay? It's like, of course, the normal fears that everybody's got, right? But you got to put your shield up for that. So, I would say sometimes making sure I have my sandals on to walk the walk, and then making sure I have my shield to not have to deal with the arrows that hit me would be my two.
That's good. That's very good. I hope that this, description of this, I just felt led to have us talk about this. We talked about it last night. We're going to, just wanted to share it. We felt like there was an anointing on the conversation last night, and we just really felt like, have you taken the time to really break that down? Have you taken the time to really think, like, do I know all those details, and am I living according to those details? Am I serving God in a way that that I'm showing up like a soldier? Am I enduring hardship as a soldier, as the Bible tells me to? But am I armored up as that soldier so that I can do all that we just spoke of? And I pray and believe that this is going to resonate with you, that it's going to plant a seed of hope and change. I think when people speak strongly and they speak strength, I get hope from that, because I just think to myself, okay, those people are driven. Those people are excited about this. They've got passion about this. There's hope for change when people get behind the word and they share it in such a way that it shows you that a life can be transformed from it. Our lives have been transformed from it. We're prime examples. And then we watch people on the daily get their lives transformed from the Lord, from health, and just all that we do to help transform folks. For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with a 6-month nutrition program or a free personal fitness assessment with our personal trainers, give us a call at 636-299-2208. Or for our online Q&A subscription program with myself, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless.